could have your name, please?
Okay, my name is Natalie Daise.
And what is your profession?
I am a storyteller, both a traditional storyteller, stage performance, and I'm a visual artist, also a storyteller. So, stories can be told all kinds of ways, and sometimes this is the way I need to do it. And sometimes I'm happiest when I can combine both the visual and the oral together. That makes me very happy.
Is that like at an art opening where maybe you would do a...
It seldom happened at an art opening, but I've had a few opportunities recently because sometimes you can use storytelling for workshops and you can use storytelling to facilitate dialogue or community. I mean, that's what story does. And so lately, if I have like a set or I'm doing this, I will bring art as well. And I might project that art and make it a part of the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah. And at what point in your life did you develop your artistic calling?
Wow. I was that little girl who drew, so there was always this visual art component, though I don't think I called myself an artist. I was like, Natalie's artistic. And that was the way they would say that, I can find something good to say about her.
Oh, how?
And so that was always a part of me. I didn't become a storyteller, an oral professional storyteller, until after I married. As I was always... The way I grew up, the only place to do that type of thing was in church. Okay. And it had to be about your religious process. So to grow up, and my husband, who's a writer, who knew I was a storyteller, sort of said, here, step into this space. And so I've been doing that now for 36 years.
Wow.
And while I was doing that, I wasn't doing visual art. But when I kind of stepped away from performance for a while, we did TV for a while, and then we stopped that, and I came back home, and I reconnected with this part and telling stories this way, and it was like, oh yeah, there I am. So I've been a visual artist who actually shares my art as opposed to just, me messing around at home, probably since 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2010.
Was it mostly like what one might call self-taught art?
Yeah, I'm a self-taught artist, yes.
What is I guess, some thoughts about that process? Because it's a very different... A lot of artists that come through here are university.
Right. It was an interesting thing, and it was sort of to claim that. I did have some insecurity about, wow, can I call myself an artist? I didn't go to X, I didn't learn whatever process. And then I realized an artist is a person who makes art. So, of course I'm an artist. I make art, I show art, I share art, and art informs my everyday life. I love being here because, Camille, this whole thing is her canvas. And that's kind of how I live my life as well. There have been people who said, well, I'll just come down your street. I'll know your house when I get there. And that's true, they will.
Yeah.
So, art is about how you live your life. And this is how I live my life. It's been satisfying to have people who knew me as a performance artist. It's satisfying to move through the world and have people who know me completely as a visual artist, who say, oh, I love your work, or I'm familiar with your work. That's been really great. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you go to many art residency programs?
This is the first time I've ever done it. Oh. Last summer, I live Georgetown, down in the low country. Right now it's probably 100 degrees and 98% humidity, and the mosquitoes are trying to kill you. And I get depressed when it gets like that. Some people get depressed in the winter. Yeah. But for me, when it gets too hot and humid to go outside, and my garden starts to die because I just don't have the energy to go out there and care for it, I start getting really depressed. And it took me a while before I realized, oh, that's what's happening. So last summer, I went on Instagram and said, all right, I can't do it again. Anybody have any suggestions of what I can do? I will not spend a whole other summer like this. And one of the suggestions was here.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
And so I said, okay. And my daughter had been here and had told me when she came, she said, I thought about you the whole time. It's just the place you would be. So I applied. I was so grateful. And then the world fell apart, and I didn't know if it would happen. But when I saw that, they were doing residencies again, I came. Even though I've been home for months, I thought it'd be me coming in off of my busy schedule to come. But it's me coming off of being at home for months. Still, it's cooler. My husband and both of my adult children are all sheltering in place together. And they're probably grateful to have me out.
Oh, I doubt that.
I'm grateful to have this opportunity. This has been really excellent.
And in terms of coming here during a, pandemic situation, how does it feel to you? Is this a secure kind of?
Yes. Well, I had called and I talked to Camille, and I feel very safe, very secure. I spend a lot of time outside, and in here there's plenty of space. I did go into town. I didn't get out the car after I went into the Dollar General, and then there were like too many people on the street.
I told you, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, nah. But I don't need to go to town. I'm fine here. I've been sitting out on the rock talking to Dave. So this has been fine. This has been good. I had a little anxiety. I had a little. But this is just an anxious time. I don't know if the anxiety was so much about the residency as it's just the world is. There's lots to be anxious about.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And also it's like, I had people like, you going up into Appalachia? Are there Black people up there? Are you safe up there? And I had to think about, what it means to be safe, and how I used to never be afraid to go anywhere, and I am now, and I hate that. I hate that.
Since when would you say?
Since the last election.
Okay.
I haven't felt really just. I'm always aware, and I don't like that. It's like my safety has been taken from me, or I've given it up.
Yeah.
It hasn't been taken. I gave it up, and so to claim it, to claim my safety, to choose it, and it's not always easy. You have to keep choosing it. Yeah, but I feel I love this, and Camille's talking about plans for the artist cave, and I'm like, oh well, shoot, I want to come back and put something in there.
Oh, that'll be fantastic.
Yeah, so I hope to come back. This has been great. I only got one more week, but
oh no, back to the heat.
Back to the heat, but I've had this.
Yeah.
Actually in the process of having my garage insulated, so I can put a little portable air conditioner in there. So maybe I'll be able to work in that space. I was able to work in it up until May, and then it was like
no, people die from that.
Yeah, it was just too hot.
So do you have any final thoughts or words at all?
I don't know. I think if one can have retreat, it feels like a luxury, and I guess it is, but it was really doable. It was something I could afford, and it's a wonderful space, and just that to take that time to rejuvenate, if someone has that opportunity, by all means, take it.
Thanks so much, Natalie.
Yeah. It's actually a story from my daughter had written her thesis, and it was in Afrofuturism, and in it she imagined a safe space that was created where women of color, Black women, could go, and that this place had no time or dimension, so you could be from one period or another and all find this space, and it's in the water.
Oh, nice.
So it's like a room. We call it the room, but it's in the water. And if you know the ritual, you can get there. And so in this piece, I sort of created that room. And in it, I brought in, my daughter, who dreamed it up. And she invited me, which I love. And Harriet Tubman, who is my patron saint. and Sandra Bland, who was killed by the police,
Yes.
and Breonna Taylor, and this little one, Ayanna. She was 7 years old when she was sleeping on a sofa, and the police did a no knock and killed her. And but not just people who were injured, but that it's a place for anyone to come and be safe. And then here, these are still in process. They're the guardians of the space.
Oh, yeah.
So I was thinking of that movie that was out, Black Panther, and so the warriors, the Wakanda warriors, were women,
Yep.
except for they're like mermaids.
Mermaid, yeah, because
So when they're done, and they keep the space safe, so that people can come in and just when they need to step away. And so you can come into this room and be there with Harriet because time doesn't matter. You can rest, you can groom, you can care for your baby. This young woman had a 1-year-old in her lap when the police came in and shot her holding her child. But safe. You can be safe there. It doesn't have to have been a crisis, but sure. You need to be able to come away somewhere
where you won't be brutalized for no good reason.
Or you can just.
Yep.
So when I got here, I hadn't planned necessarily to do this piece, and then I woke up in the room and realized the room I was sleeping in was water all around it.
That's right.
And I thought, oh, I'm in the room. So.
That's pretty neat.
So I started to do it, and this is just what I saw out there, and so from within this space. So if you could look out of a window, you would see something that was beautiful, and I saw that out there one morning. So that's what's